For more, I'm joined by Morris Davis, a law professor at Howard University and notably a former chief prosecutor for terrorism trials at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You know, President Obama said today that America was at a crossroads when it comes to counterterrorism. Is it?
It is and has been since 9/11, when we abandoned, the principles that we claim we live by and we stand for, and pandered to fear and let that dictate our policy. So it's gone on for too long. He let it continue throughout his first term in office. And I think now he's looking at what his legacy is going to be. So hopefully in what remains of the second term, he'll try to get us back on the right path.
How realistically could he close it by the end of his second term?
Well, he could. I'm optimistic that he's going to do it. I hate to say that I'm hopeful, because I've been hopeful before and disappointed with his efforts. I mean, the rhetoric's always great, but it's the reality that counts. So I'm optimistic, that this time that there is some wind in the sails, and that it is going to, he's going to follow through, and it is going to close, because he's laid out the argument. There is no good reason to keep Guantanamo open. So the critics on the other side, I'd invite people to try to pin them down and have them articulate specifically why it makes sense to keep it open, because I can't think of a good reason.
Well, the Pentagon is now coming out and saying that they want hundreds of millions of dollars to keep it running. And I want to get your thoughts on what seems to be a major sticking point, and it has to do with the prisoners, especially some of those that come from Yemen. And the president mentioned that he has this proposal to lift the moratorium on transferring the prisoners from Yemen back to their country. Is that really the first step in getting this place closed?
Well, it should be. I was disappointed today. It was encouraging that he talked about it. It's the biggest discussion we've had about national security issues since the talk he gave in May 2009 at the National Archives. So on one hand, it's encouraging that he is having this discussion. On the other hand, this issue with the Yemenis and the 86 prisoners that have been cleared for transfer that we don't want to keep, that he mentioned today, we spend $1 million a year per person to keep in confinement. The Yemeni government wants their people back. And we've got 56 of those that have been cleared for transfer. So that's $56 million a year the American taxpayers are wasting on people we don't need to keep. So I was hoping today he was going to say that a plane's landing right now as we speak at Guantanamo and loading up the 56 Yemenis, but he didn't say that. So I'm afraid it's going to be a slow process and not a fast one.
We have about 45 seconds left. For our international audience who doesn't understand the ins and outs of the holdup, why is it taking so long?
Well,
why couldn't it be as simple as saying, okay, we're going to close it and
well, it should be. I don't know if you noticed in the speech today, the audience, I was there in the audience, and it was largely quiet during the talk about drones. The applause came when he talked about closing Guantanamo, and that was a military audience, because the military never wanted Guantanamo to begin with. But it's become a political football between the president and his critics on the other side, and it shouldn't be. It's about right and wrong, and Guantanamo is wrong, and we need to make it right. So the way to do it is to close it and send the people home.
All right, Morris Davis, again, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate your perspective.
Sure.